All right, it's loading. Okay. All right, we are live. So let's give it a second for people to get on. We're only going to give it like a second. Okay, let's go.
Okay. Well, today we're going to talk about buyers, right? Especially when it comes to wholesaling. A lot of you have the question, okay, now we have the property under contract. How do I find the buyers from the property? And I want to do, clear a couple of premises here. Number one, a lot of time you have to educate the buyers, especially in this market. And you don't have to work with every buyer. Some buyers out there are not being realistic right now. And we are going to see a lot of things changing over the next few months. Okay. We had such a hot seller's market, but now the buyers are starting to, pull away in the sense that they're not going to be as eager. They're going to be more discriminating on what they're going to do. And because the prices get out of control, and let's face it, there is no profit there from an investor point of view, with the prices the way they are. So you're going to have a little bit of a tug of war here. On one side, you have the sellers, right? They pull this way, they want the prices up. On the other side, you have the buyer, they want the prices down, and you're in the middle. You're the sole seller trying to do this tug of war. And so this is going to happen more and more. So with that said, you don't have to work with every buyer. If a buyer is being unrealistic, if a buyer says, okay, I just want to use the 70% rule, I'm never going to buy any property that, is more than 70% of the final ARV, good luck to you. I'm not going to work with you. Because I can tell you right now, investors that are successful out there, anybody that is an investor will tell you that the 70% rule is not work. I don't know who came up with that idea of offering 75% or 70%, because it's really not in this market, not in any foreseeable market in the future, because the fact is, it's a different market. Yeah, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, when the sellers were not as savvy, when they didn't know the right hand, didn't know what the left hand was doing, when the market out there, it was hard for them to tap into a lot of the information that they have available nowadays from Zillow, Redfin, and so forth, they could have worked, but not today. Okay, so I just want to make sure you understand that you don't have to deal with every buyer. You have to educate the buyer. And if the buyer is stuck on the 70% rule, you tell them good luck. So now Liz is going to go over more into some of the ways. She's more into the buyer's end of things. So I'll let her go ahead and take it from here.
Sure. Okay, so we're in the middle of a fantastic intensive. Michelle, you should be at lunch, man. I love that she's on here. We're in the middle of a fantastic, very informative intensive. So we only have a few minutes. So if you did not get the PDF, I want you to comment buyers below so I can get you the PDF later. The PDF covers our top 3 ways. Now I have a 10-step process to getting buyers where you can get any deal sold in those 10 steps. Now, let me make this clear though. If your deal is not priced right, it will not sell no matter what you do. It has to be priced right as a wholesale deal. We're talking about wholesaling, obviously, because in the other cases, you're the end buyer. So with that being said, you really want to price it right. Now, every once in a while, you'll get a property that goes above asking, but let's be real. A lot of those people that are really going crazy at it are going after MLS pricing because they don't know all the off-market ways of getting deals like you do. So just kind of keep that in mind. Now, with that being said, I want to talk now. It is in a bigger, much more detail on the PDF that I give you, but let's just do a brief overview of what it is. My top 3 ways. This means the 3 out of the 10. These are the top 3 ways I get buyers that I have had the most results with. The number 1 is the MLS or PropStream. Now, in some states, you can list your property on the MLS as a wholesaler. Not every state, you need to find out if it works for your state. But what I'm meaning by this is I actually I have an agent or I use PropStream and I pull a list of cash buyers that have bought in the last 10 months for cash. That is really important. And I reach out to them. and see if they're interested in the property I have. You want them, obviously, they're buying similar properties. You don't want someone that's buying like a 5 unit and you're calling about a single family, but all you've seen them buy on this list is 4, 5, 6, 7 units, right? So you want to make sure it's a buyer that matches what you're buying. That is my number one way. So the last 6 months of cash sales in that zip code that you are having a property. The second one is social media. Facebook Marketplace is amazing for this. In our contracts that we provide to our students, you have the right to market your property. So if your seller sees this, we have lingo that you can use about talking about it. But with that being said, right now, Facebook Marketplace is probably one of the hottest places you can list your property for investing, for your investments. And so I recommend that, and also other groups. Now you just have to be careful. Social media, you are going to run into other people that are wholesalers as well. That's okay. They can go on a separate list for if I need to sell this, and they can provide a buyer. And then last but not least is Craigslist. Craigslist is fantastic in certain areas. I know in some parts of the US, people get flagged a lot, so they don't like Craigslist, but my areas and other areas that investors have done, I really like Craigslist. You can post, and you can also look for cash buyers on there, the people that are doing like the We Buy Houses, We Buy the Ugly Houses, that kind of thing. They are all on there, but you can look for that too. And you can also post your properties there under for sale by owner. So those are the top 3 ways. There's more details in the PDF on these 3 topics. And then, as I said, some of you are students that are on here, you have the 10-step process. But we really wanted to harp more, just because that PDF has been circling around all week. We wanted to harp more, which was what we did in the beginning, on the 70% rule. I know, and people are like, okay, but that's great, but every buyer I run into is doing that. It's your job as the investor to educate your buyers and your sellers, to educate them on why you're giving them a lower offer or why you will not go down, and they have to come to what you're offering for your buyers. You have to educate them, and if they still don't want to buy, whatever. There are a million buyers out there that will buy that property. You just have to keep doing it consistently every single day, marketing that property, and so a buyer will come. Now, if you're not getting anything after 7 to 10 days under contract, nothing, I would talk to the buyers when they first decline, asking why they didn't want your property when they had inquired around it initially. And then finally going into just saying, you may have to lower. You may have to lower your price. If you're not getting any bite, not even interest, nothing, no response or nothing, your price too high. And you're too high, or your market is not good and there's not enough investors there. But even then, in this market, that's really hard to come by, because people are buying everywhere. But I would really say it's money. It always comes down to money. Laura, would you like to say anything else before we close out?
No, you did good. And anybody has any questions on this? How many people are here?
We have 15. I do not see any questions as of yet. But we do an ask us anything on Thursdays at 1 p.m. Eastern. So I'm not seeing any questions here, and we do have to jump off so that we can quickly eat lunch before we get back to our intensive. But phenomenal thing is buyers. Buyers are really easy if your property is marketed right. That is how you know. That's how you know you got it under. And yeah, but if you think of any questions, put them in the chat or ask on next Thursday during our Ask Us Anything.
Okay, great. So yeah, and like I said, Elizabeth said, don't forget to download or request a PDF. Great.
Yep.
Have a great day. Have a great weekend, and see you Monday.
See you guys. Yeah, see you Monday. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.